2024 has been a bit of an iffy year for a lot of people, me included. It's had its fair share of highs, but also its very low lows, I guess you could say. At the end of the day though, I am very grateful for making it out another year. So what better way to celebrate than to talk about every single game I've played this year. Please keep in mind though, this is my list, so if you don't agree with something, that's totally fine. I'll be splitting this list into 5 categories, starting with the currently playing. You know, the title kind of says it all. As of right now, I'm only playing 2 games, one being Dead Space, the remake, and Marvel Rivals. To be completely honest with you, I played Dead Space around sometime last year and I got halfway through the game before dropping it for whatever reason. I recently felt the urge to finish the game and play through the entire series, so that's probably what's gonna happen for the next few months or month. Marvel Rivals is something that's been on my list for quite some time. I played the first beta and I enjoyed it a lot, so when it released, you bet that I was gonna be on there, okay? For the longest time, Overwatch had me in a tight, firm grip that I couldn't escape from, but thanks to Marvel Rivals, I'm no longer an Overwatch player. I could probably talk about Marvel Rivals for an hour, but just for this video, I'm gonna cut it down to one section. And the reason I like the game so much is because they have a bunch of random characters that really don't appear in mainstream MCU media, like Moon Knight and Punisher. I know they got their own shows, but they don't got like live action movies. I want to see these guys tear up the streets of New York. But that's my reason at the end of the day. I really like these characters and I also like what Marvel Rivals is doing. My only wish for this game is that Daredevil makes it in. Daredevil make it in. If he has his like black vigilante suit, it's wraps. It's wraps. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the games I'm playing right now. I try to keep the list short because I feel like if I try and play a bunch of games all at the same time, I lose track or lose interest in one or the other. So that's my logic, at least. What games are you currently playing? Let me know down below. But now let's move on to the games that I've beaten this year, starting with Metal Gear Solid 2 through 4. Over the year, I've been trying to get through every Metal Gear Solid game possible because once I got hooked, I just couldn't get enough. I might make a video over the whole series and my thoughts on it when I finish Peace Walker and Phantom Pain, but as of right now, I believe everyone should play these games. Every single game is amazing to the point where I can't really find a game that I like the least. The characters in every game were incredible, my favorite ones being obviously Big Boss and Snake, but also Otacon and the Boss. The Boss especially, man, like I could make a whole video about the Boss. Like that's Aura, okay? She's a goat for real. One of the main reasons I really liked her was because every time she showed up on screen, she was just beating up Naked Snake, which I thought was very cool. The music was memorable, specifically Snake Eater's intro named Snake Eater. Throughout the series, the gameplay for the most part stayed the same, but I think it peaked in MGS3. The introduction of the camo system and having to find rations to keep your stamina bar up were amazing in my opinion. Personally, I find it really difficult to pick a favorite game from the Metal Gear Solid series, but I did like certain parts of Guns of the Patriots. MGS4 felt like a celebration of the series. It felt like the end in many ways, since a bunch of old characters from the past games kept showing up. And when that happens in other media, sometimes it feels cheesy, but not in MGS4. The game did suffer in many areas, especially with the main villain group, but that's for another time and I don't want to spoil anyone. I'm trying not to say too much because, you know, we have a lot to go through, but the series is goated. If you haven't played it yet, play it. If you have played it, replay it, okay? It doesn't hurt anybody. Until this year, I was one of those people that had never finished a single Souls game, so I decided that had to change. I wanted to beat the hardest Souls game out there, so after a few minutes of research, I found out that every fan had one answer to that question. Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. Every single moment of this game had me looking at the uninstall button like it was a water bottle in the middle of the desert. There was several boss fights in this game that legitimately were getting to me. I vividly remember that I stopped playing the game for a while because I couldn't get past the bull with fire on his head. Even with all that being said, I have never, ever, in all my years of playing video games, struggled as much as I did with Sword Saint Ishin. This boss fight alone took me days. There'd be times where I'd get so frustrated and stop playing, but then I think about how good it would feel once I beat this boss, and if I quit right at the finish line, I won't be able to have bragging rights. I genuinely cannot emphasize enough just how much time I spent on this boss fight. While this was all going on, I had a dream where I was playing Sekiro and fighting Ishin. It was that serious. I'm telling you, this game had a grip on me that was so bad, I could close my eyes and visualize his combos and counter them with my hands doing the input on the keyboard. I could do his first two phases flawlessly, no damage. After I beat it, man, I can't even express how I felt. I can't recommend this game enough for anyone out there. If you want to be tested, challenged, frustrated, angry, sad, play this game. It will make you go through every human emotion available, man. It's a good game, okay? Funny enough, I really don't have much to say about Hi-Fi Rush. I usually suck a lot when it comes to rhythm games, but I didn't have much trouble here. The characters were cool, music was great, gameplay was unique and very fun. I don't remember much about this game besides the studio behind it being closed down and then being bought by the PUBG studios or something like that. That's about it really. Cool game with cool music. Persona 3 Reload? Man, this is the type of game you tell your grandchildren about. I pretty much said everything I have to say about this game in my Persona 3 video, but just to add on, I was a really big fan of the original and I never thought a remake of this scale would ever happen. So the fact that it did was very cool to see. In my personal opinion, this was my game of the year of 2024, just because it happened and I didn't think it would. I sincerely apologize for what's about to happen, okay? We are moving into the played but dropped section, okay? And this is where things might get a little heated, but just know that this is my opinion. And do I agree with my opinion? No, okay, but let's move on. The game that I really don't feel bad about dropping at all was Sonic Frontiers. I've seen everything Sonic, I've played everything Sonic, yes, even the bad titles, and as you know, he has a lot of those. In my humble opinion, Sonic Frontiers was a big miss. The game felt empty and lazy. The overworld with all of the random assets in the middle of nowhere felt so cheap. The music was... It was pretty good. I'm not even going to sit here and lie. I still have some of the tracks in my daily rotation. For me personally, the gameplay just wasn't it. I like the fact Sonic throws hands now, but to me it felt a little weird, you know? I don't know much about the story and personally don't really want to since I don't care. I'm also not the biggest fan of the voice cast we have. I'm gonna be honest, I'm biased, but I can't see why they can't bring back the 4Kids cast back. Crazy take, but Jason Griffith made Sonic. I feel like he's the voice of Sonic. But I probably sound like a hater, and that's because I am. I've seen Sonic at his best, and this was not it. And from what I hear, this is the direction they're gonna be taking with future Sonic games, which I hope isn't true, but who knows. I remember a headline called this game Valve's worst kept secret, and it really was. But Deadlock, yeah, we're gonna be talking about Deadlock. This is Valve's take on League of Legends, I think. I'm not really familiar with this kind of category of games, but safe to say I wasn't really a fan. It's cool, you know, don't get me wrong. I can see how a game like this can become a big hit once the public gets their hands on it. For me though, at least for now, I think I'll pass. I played a few matches, and although I wasn't really rocking with the gameplay, I must admit that the art direction for this game is incredible. The art team for this game really showed what they could do. I think my favorite character though is the guy that makes a gun with his hand and shoots from his fingers. I forgot his name though. Yeah, not much else to say besides cool game with cool art. This year I really wanted to, get out of my bubble, okay? I wanted to explore different game categories out there, starting with MMO. Mainly World of Warcraft, since I always saw people talking about it, but that costs money and I don't want to be stuck with a game that I really don't like. So I went with the next best thing that was free, which was Throne and Liberty. It's cool, but not my cup of tea. I think I got like 2 hours in before calling it quits. That's about it. Yeah. I know that a few minutes ago I was absolutely glazing Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, but what I'm about to say to you may come as a surprise. I dropped Elden Ring. Nothing wrong with the game, but I was just extremely burnt out. I hopped on Elden Ring right after beating Sekiro and everything was fine until I got to the Godskin duo fight. That fight is just straight up unfair in my opinion. A challenging fight is supposed to make you feel like every time you die, it's your fault because maybe you misread a combo or you didn't react fast enough. I guess what I'm trying to say is that the Godskin duo felt like complete BS. Even after beating them, I didn't really feel like playing the game. I think the worst thing you can do is keep doing something even if you don't want to, and I really didn't want to do that with Elden Ring, because I knew if I did, then I'd basically be forcing myself to have fun. I don't doubt that I'll come back to the game someday, but I wouldn't be surprised if I didn't. Hopefully that's not the case though. Persona 4 Golden is that one game that I keep dropping over and over and over. It's a good game and it has a great story along with its characters. Don't even get me started on the music for that game. It's amazing. I really want to finish this game. I just can't. Something comes over me and I get extremely bored playing this game. I don't know. I'm kind of hoping on a remake coming up for this game since that's probably the only way I'll ever play it, but who knows. When I drop a game, it could be for a number of reasons, good or bad. But there was 2 games that I didn't drop at all. Instead, I kept coming back for. Yes, that's right. We are on the constantly play throughout the year category of this list. This is where things might get a little personal. Don't judge me, okay? I'm trusting you. Overwatch. This game is so unbelievably bad, but I kept coming back for more. So many issues. Devs that would much rather hate on women and much more. Every single second I played this game, I hated it. Although I am glad to say that I am free of that curse now. I am now in a relationship with Marvel rivals. Just to summarize, I hate this game, okay? But there wasn't much to play, and there still isn't when it comes to competitive games in general. So, yeah. There was another game I kept coming back to this year, and that was Rainbow Six Siege. This game is also unbelievably broken and unbalanced, but I had fun with it. I stopped playing entirely when the recruits were reworked, which was cool, but that's about it. No new content besides that, and if I want to constantly play a game, I need some form of new content, which I obviously wasn't getting, so I stopped playing. Maybe I'll return in the future once they decide to lock in, but who knows. Yeah, those are the only 2 games I played constantly throughout the whole year. As you can tell, I have a type: competitive shooters and bad games. So, sue me. Don't do that. But I do have to apologize to you again. And, not for the Overwatch thing, that's for another video. But because we are approaching the last category for this list. That being games I want to beat next year. Starting with Death Stranding. I made it very clear that I am a big fan of the Metal Gear Solid games, which means I am a big fan of Hideo Kojima, the man behind it all. From what I heard, Death Stranding is either the best game of all time or the most boring, no in between. I hope I enjoy this game because I saw the trailer for the second one and it had a guy fighting with a guitar, which is, pretty cool. BIOSHOCK is also on my list, seeing as there are rumors of a new game supposedly being worked on. I really don't want to miss out on that, and also this series has been on my radar for a while, so why not get it out the way now? The game series I want to beat the most next year is Alan Wake. When the second game came out, I remember a lot of people talking about how great it was, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I felt a little bit left out. So yeah, I just want to see what all the hype is about. Ladies and gentlemen, that marks the end for my 2024 list. Did you agree with anything or did you disagree? Was this list a W or L? Was this a skibbity list or was it a Sigma W? Let me know down below. We are coming across a new year, so I hope you take care of yourself and I see you next time. Until then, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Goodbye, everyone.